Good evening. Welcome back to the workshop. Thanks for joining me on a chilly Thursday evening. No earworms tonight, so we're going to wing it and see how we get on. But yeah, welcome back. First one of 2023. First one of me being 40. My birthday yesterday. What are we going to do? I wanted to do something fun, something silly, and let's just have a general laugh. So we're going to have a go at making a wooden whistle. Don't need a lot of timber for this. And yeah, you can crack on. So I'm going to show you all the steps tonight, and we'll go from there. So we're going to switch from cameras and we're going to go to the worktop. I think it's this one. Here we go. So what you need is a piece of wood. This is 5 inches long, about 1 inch in diameter. This is slightly over, and we're going posh tonight. We're going with Ligna Vitae. Not turned any for ages, and I went to the timber store earlier on and they had some really cheap, so it was only fair that I picked it up. I'm going to try and use a marker so you can see what we're doing, but I'll explain it all as we go along. So we need to make some markings on here before we even go anywhere near the lathe. We need a V-cut for the sound box, and then we need to put a hole in here for putting a piece of string or piece of ribbon, whatever you want to use as a lanyard through. So the first thing we're going to do is from one end we're going to measure in 1 inch or 25 mil. Depending on where you are, whether you're still metric or you're imperial or whatever. So we're going to put a line down there at 25 mil. That is just showing up. And then what we want is a 45 degree off that. I'm just using my speed square. I've already pre-marked a line approximately halfway through the blank. So there we go. This is our V cut we're going to cut out before we start. And then from the other end, we're going to measure in at 35 mil. And just put a line there. And put a little cross on. And that's where we're going to put a hole for the lanyard. And all I use is I just use a 4 mil drill bit. So we'll drill that first. These bits of wood are just because I'm forever drilling into my cutting mats. Now I've already seen a few people in the chat. Hello to Tommy, Robin, Gerard. There's a few others. I have got my phone rigged up by the lathe, so when we're over there I'll say hello to anyone else that's in. And you probably noticed when I said hello that there was a little furry friend just in the corner of your screen. That's Justin Beaver. That's just there, just to say hello to Robin. There we go. So that's the hole. So we'll now go over. Now, the next bit you can either cut by hand, you can cut on the bandsaw. I'm going to have a go on a scroll saw, because I haven't used a scroll saw on a live for I don't know how long. I've got a Pegasus number 12 blade in, so it's quite rough because Ligna Vitae is quite a hard wood. And we're just going to cut the speed cut out. The one I did earlier on was purple part, and scroll saw likes that. It doesn't like the Ligna Vitae, it's struggling. So I'm just going to mute and I'm going to cut this on the bandsaw. And there we go, 1V cut. So we can now go over to the lathe and we can start to get this turned. Justin, get out of the way. He's trying to get on the lathe now. So on the lathe, I've just, this is my chuck. These are the Charnwood Viper 3, and I've got a set of gripper jaws. So internally and externally, as well as the jaws, you've also got some little indents that grip the timber. So we're just going to mount that. We're going to try and get it fairly central. Okay. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drill an 8mm hole. Now that needs to be approximately 2.5 inches deep. So we'll start the lathe. Take spindle lock off for help. The lathe's turning approximately 500 RPM. It's the slowest that this lathe goes. Hello Dave, how are you? Hi Chris. As I said, liquid and veto when you turn it is quite oily, so it might clog up your drill bit a bit. So just take it out, clear out those cutting heads. Just had a few come out here. We have an new one.
Hello.
Mr. Mapletree, how are you?
How's a grand, boy? How's a grand?
Good.
What you making?
We're making a whistle.
Your microphone's not on your headset. You know that, right?
No, it should be. Right, let's sort that issue out as well. What is it doing?
Good evening, everyone. Are you all well? Are you warm?
Is that better?
Oh my word! I preferred it the other way. I couldn't hear you.
Right.
That's much better, mate.
Cool. So, as I was saying, we're going to drill an 8mm hole, about 2.5 inches deep.
Is that like a 7mm hole with accuracy issues?
Yeah. Well, I got the idea for doing these off a guy in the States, and he turns a 3/8 inch hole, but I ain't got one of those drill bits, so 8mm the nearest I've got. So that's what we use. And I've also got some 8mm dowel, so it will make the next bit easier. Right. So we'll take the drill bit out, and then we're going to pop in this life center, which will go into the hole and hold it all steady. We can then start to put the shape.
So just catching up on the chat. We've got Tommy's workshop. We've got Gerard. We've got the Jennifer Stroughton. We've got Barry Chitty.
Hi, Barry.
Yeah. And various other suspects. You have 19 people with fantastic YouTube selection taste watching you right now.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. So,
and one fat bloke in Scotland.
When it comes to roughing this down to round, what we've got to remember is we've got a big V cut in here. So speed is your friend on this, but only turn as comfortable as you are comfortable turning. All right. We don't want any accidents. So that's about 1,000. I'm going to get killed because I didn't put my smock on. I've only got my hoodie, but never mind.
So we don't need to call, you know, Poirot or anything like that. It'd just be, yep, Joe did it.
Yeah, it's only a few shavings, isn't it?
Can I watch that particular conversation?
Thing is, time I come out the workshop tonight, she'll be in bed anyway.
So, folks, if you like what Scott's doing, remember, hit that thumbs up. But if you really like what he's doing, why not share this video out and let's get a few more people in here watching Scott play with a small whistle.
See, if this comes out all right, it's going to come to the picket line with me on Monday.
Good. Get a Vuvuzela. I hear they're all the rage.
Let's really upset the residents of New Addington.
Make it sound like a carnival out in the picket line.
The picket line in Edmonton on last Wednesday were making that much noise with their whistles. They were getting vegetables and potatoes and all sorts thrown at them from the residents. Thought it was quite funny.
Definitely calls for an issue of Vuvuzelas to that particular picket line. What happened to clapping?
We had a meeting earlier on. The reps got air horns for Monday.
Awesome. What a guy.
Right. Okay. How are we doing? That's right.
Gerard's just saying, you're going to have to enlighten us now, Jared. 37 days, 19 hours, 48 minutes. And
that's till Gerard retires.
Is it really? Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, purely just to help me, is we're going to put pencil line in, because we're going to turn a little bead on the end. For the lanyard. So I'm just going to put a little V cut in there, just so I know where that's going. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn the mouthpiece end. So I'm just going to reduce it a little bit. Probably do that with a rough and gouge actually. And then you can either turn a bead or you decorate it however you want. I'm going to put a bead just by the sound bit and then on the end. And all I'm using is the Ashley Isles fluted parting tool, which just makes cutting little beads really easy.
Young Douglas is asking me, how's the building going? I'm not going to answer that. I'm going to let Scott answer that. Scott, how's my building going?
Really well. Really well. I'm not jealous of your workshop at all, Mr. Kirkwood.
It's not a workshop. It's merely a place where I store my tools at this weather.
It's a bungalow, mate. And all we're going to do here, we're going to put a half cove in. Take off this excess. Depending on how time goes, we might get a couple done. We might do one that we can change sound on. We shall see. And just on the mouthpiece, I'm just going to put Another little bead, just so your lips have got something to go round. And then we're just going to bring in that half cove just to the bottom of this.
Ouch. Young Gerard says the official date is February the 26th. After that, he'll look for part-time work for 3 days a week. Found out he still has 2 years on his mortgage.
Oh. Okay.
Ouch.
So there's the mouthpiece done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just use the point of the skew just on the very end. But we can sand that shortly. Now let's put some shape on the whistle.
No need to insult me, kind of thing. I mean, just say Sandy. You don't call me shortly.
Now, it is entirely up to you what shape you go for. You can go for texture. You can go for colour if you really wanted. I won't be colouring tonight because, as I said, this is a piece of lignum vitae, and I just think the wood does it for itself. Okay, let's go for a spindle gouge. Let's take a little bit more off here just so we can get in.
Oh my, Scotty trying to get in. Should have made the door bigger, mate.
Now we're looking.
It's all right, man. It's a little bit like a nutcracker.
The other thing with lignum vitae is if you're really good with your tools and sharp tools, it doesn't take much sanding. Just going to come in on the end there. I'll make a little. What is going on with the lathe? No!
Power cable?
Loose lead.
Loose
I was panicking
wire.
then. So the leads on the back of these axe mincers just pushing.
A bit sugly.
Yeah.
Talking of sugly, the shug bet is in. Mr. Huey
Are you
Langsdorff.
shocked? Should have sharpened that skew.
Skew.
Barley McGrew. Okay. That'll do for that. We'll reduce this bit down.
Shug says, excuse me.
You were saying, mate?
Shug says, excuse me.
Excuse you? And then what we're going to do, we're just going to put a relief cut in down by the chuck. Just to make turning the bead on the end a little bit easier for us. Now you don't want to go too thin here, because the thinner we go, the more wobbly it's going to get.
Thinner you go.
So we'll take that down. That's about 15 mil.
Less hair to brush, more face to wash.
Yeah, right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line roughly round the middle of where the hole is, and that then becomes the center of our bead. So the aim is to try and leave that line there.
Young Gerard's inquiring of me, Scott. He says, Dale, how is the cold in your part of the world? The cold's quite well. Shows up every day. You know, it puts on a good performance. You know what I mean? So I would say the cold's all right. Yeah. Douglas is inquiring, what's the temperature in the shop? Well, the temperature in my clean room is 20 degrees with a humidity of 22 degrees. In the main workshop, it's 16 degrees.
The temperature in here is 10 degrees. It's a bit nippy. But hey ho. We've got the thermals on. And I went to the camping shop earlier on and got some more gas, so we've got the little heater going.
Beans, mate.
Another thing to be conscious of as well, when you're working this close to the chuck, is the position of your fingers. Mine are getting a little bit close. So you just be careful. Don't want any accidents.
I'm saying nothing.
Okay. Okay. Now we're looking at that.
Good, man.
That's really good. Let's bring that out of the way. We'll turn the speed of the lathe down. And because of the tool finish, we're going to go straight in with 120. We're doing on time. 20 minutes.
You all right, mate? Plenty of time.
Loads of time. These are a really quick project to turn. I don't know if you can see how clogged up the paper's getting. That's because, as I said earlier, lignum vitae is quite an oily wood, but it's very pretty.
Shug says, in his shop, it will mostly be being comfortable. Enough to work in his hoodie, not zipped up, he hastens to add. Lol. Young Douglas is saying, Scott, you're only allowed tumbles, no lathe rash.
Is that you're only allowed tumbles, no
tumbles,
lathe rash?
no lathe rash.
Yeah, it is. Just watch your fingers. You can make the blank longer, so it brings it further away from the lathe. It is entirely up to you.
Young Andrew from AGK's in.
Hi, Andrew. But as I said, I don't want to waste this. I am going to go back to the timber shop tomorrow and see if the other bit that was there that was clearly been priced wrong. I reckon they must. I reckon they must have a new boy. Because I got
disgruntled worker.
Well, this is about 32 mil square, and it was about 18 inches long, and it had a £6 price tag on it. For lignum vitae.
Really?
Yeah. That's right. I got a better deal. I've got a piece of ash that's 3 inches square by probably just over a metre long. And that was £3. And there was more of that as
Young
well.
Douglas. Young Douglas is saying, Shug, I would have thought you would have been in your mankini in the workshop.
So what we
That's
can do
just
now,
wrong.
we can take the tailstock away, get rid of that pointy bit so that don't stab us.
Jibby jabby. That wouldn't, if you managed to stab yourself with this, that wouldn't count as a splinter. Just saying.
Okay, so that was 180. This is 240, and that is all we need to go. Because we're going to use True Grit. What we are going to do is we're going to pop the spindle lock on. We're just going to go back to the 120. And we're just going to sand this bit.
Young Dougie Mungham's inquiring of me, how's Mrs. K and the boss? The boss is currently in the house, lying on his back in his usual position at this time of night. I think the boss, I think as for Mrs. Kirkwood, her garden's blooming, her new office is finished, and she's
Well, nearly
she's moved in.
finished.
Well, it's got one set of lights to do.
It's got to have one set of lights.
Yeah.
I'd sack the Sparky, mate.
I would sack the procurement department.
Yeah.
Shug says no one ever needs to see a near naked Shugopolis.
Sugaropolis. Right. So, there we go. Let's just get a little bit of methylated spirits, or for those in the
Slice of
States,
lemon.
for those in the States, a bit of denatured alcohol. Just clean it off.
Does anyone know why it's called denatured?
No. I know you can buy it as denatured alcohol over here, but you have to have a license from the Home Office.
What does denatured mean?
And they're tight. They'll only let me have 10 litres a year of denatured alcohol. Make sure we got all the little bits off. Cool. I thought I was all prepared like a Boy Scout. Now, when it comes to finishing these, obviously you're going to be blowing on it. So you can use an... Keep it clean, keep on target.
Sorry.
So you need to think about your finishes. You could just use a food safe oil, a walnut oil, something like that. I'm going to use a microcrystalline wax, but this one is food safe and toy safe. So I can use sanding sealer. This is just the chestnut sanding sealer. It's a cellulose one. True Grit, that's what we want next. So after this live is over, I meant to get it done today, but I've been out trying to get blanks for commission pieces. There will be links to where you can buy all the bits that I've used in the live.
Douglas Mungham's throwing a keep it classy at me. I'm just going to respond with this saying, it is classy. It's just gutter class. Shug is going to man after my own heart. Aim low, peeps. It saves in disappointment.
So that's True Grit. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's a new abrasive paste on the market, made in Yorkshire.
Gerard's asking, are you still using Yorkshire Grit?
No, Gerard, I have swapped over to True Grit. Personally, I prefer it, and I like to support products that are made in the UK. So I've helped with the testing of True Grit. So this is batch number 9 or recipe number 9. And I will.
Folks need to know the full story. Is recipe number 3, you'd got completely a wrong end of the stick, and you tried to use it on your eyebrows.
No, so it's being made by Dan and Katie at Taylor's Murfield, and there's 5 of us testing it, and they just want a product that's right and does what it says on the tin.
Though it's not a tin, it's a cardboard.
It is
environmentally friendly thing.
It is. This is just a tester pot, so it's not the size pot that you get when you buy it, but they are all eco-friendly packaging as well, which is another good thing. Less plastic in landfill.
Means you can burn it, folks. Gerard says nobody stocks an island yet, unfortunately. YG is so difficult to get that I have to spare what I have left. I actually think, and I can't comment on this precisely, but didn't I see Mark the Gentleman WoodTurner saying something about there's a stockist in Northern Ireland?
So I think it's the woodworking shop, WoodTurning shop in Ireland. I think they're stocking Yorkshire Grit. I'm not sure if there's a True Grit stockist yet in Ireland, but I'm going to be stocking it shortly. So if you did want some, Gerard, once I've got some in stock, I'm just waiting for payday to come so I can buy it, but I will have some in stock. I know Mark's stocking it. I know Yandles are now stocking it. There's quite a few stockists. So you use it very similar to you do Yorkshire Grit. Apply it with the lathe stationary after you've sanded to 240. Then rub it in or work it in with the same bit of cloth.
Before you give it a blow. Rub it in before you give it a blow.
And then with a clean bit of cloth, just work it off.
You've got 22 lovely human beings with fantastic YouTube taste watching you right now, but 12 of them, only 12 of them thought you're any good. Come on, folks. Give Scott, do Scott a favour here. Give that a wee tickle. Go on, smack the thumb, smack thumb, smack thumb. Go, outstanding. If you really like what he's doing, buy the man a coffee. Trust me, he runs in coffee.
I live on coffee. How many jars have you had to buy since I've been up there?
12, coming up for 13, and I'm not shitting you. There's still one only half used. The one that's there right now is only half used. You know,
that'll be gone next trip up.
Unless I decide to try it between now and then, which is about as likely as, you know, is as likely as an unlikely thing.
Yeah. So this is the Hampshire Sheen microcrystalline wax, which has been tested and is food safe and toy safe.
Young Gerard said, well, let's go with the young Gerard says, in Northern Ireland, the carpenter store in Dublin says they will stay with Yorkshire Grit, and I'm going to give you the real world version of the emoji. That's what he's got.
Gerard, if you wanted to try True Grit, I'm sure we can
Send them a tub for a sample.
We can sort that out.
Sugarotti says, I heard an Ainsley Harriott reference in that quote. Oh my. Gerard goes on to say, unfortunately, the price I will pay on customs and excise got a mug as a prize from our Xmas quiz on YT360. It cost them €7 in tax for the mug. And I'm going to go with a again.
Obviously didn't mark it up as a gift.
No. The Big Feeties is in with
Hello, Mr. Wayne.
With the Valerie.
So they were just airbrush brushes that I was using just to clear out the hole, get the excess wax out. I really need to buy myself another set of them. They're a bit.
I thought you got your nasal hair all waxed.
Mate, I have waxed my nasal hair once, and I will never, ever do that again.
You heard it here first, folks. True grit can't be used to do your nasal hair.
It must have been probably one of the most painful experiences I've ever experienced.
Except doing a poo the size of a bowling ball. Lawn, not 10-pin, obviously.
Okay. Alright. So there's the whistle body. We'll cut it off. I'm going to use the end of a skew.
Excuse me?
Just because.
You're a Londoner.
No, what I want to try and do is cut round.
The nubbity nub.
The nubbity nub. There we
Mark
go.
Shotton's in.
Hi,
Young
Mark.
Scott Hampton's in. All the way from California.
So, there we go. I'll sand this by hand later and polish it up. Now, what we need is to turn the bit that goes in the mouth tube.
Young Michael McEwen's in too.
Hi, Michael. Because without it, you won't get any sound. So, in the one I made earlier, you can see there's just a little bit of wooden dowel there with a flat.
Do they call it a reed? I think they might call it a reed. Although that might be just a clarinet or some such.
I think it's an instrument as a reed. It has got a proper name. The video of the guy I was watching that was making these a few months back did say what it was, but I can't remember for the life of me.
Young Herb's in from
Hi,
Space
Herb.
Station. He's here to help you find your insertable bit.
So what we're gonna do on that one, I cheated. I'm not gonna lie. I just used an 8mm dowel that you buy in any good hardware shop.
And a few disreputable ones.
Just sanded it. And it looks rough. So this is a piece of 10mm oak dowel.
I say.
Let's pop that to one side. And we're going to turn this down to 10mm. Down to 8mm.
Where's your calipers?
I've got better than that. Or did have better than that. I use an 8mm spanner.
Oh God, here we go. For tightening your nuts.
I can't use a 10mm because I don't know where it is.
How often are you going to check? So is it going to be like 10? Is it going to be 8mm-ish?
I'm going to take a little bit down. How much?
Because that seems awfully like it.
Nope. Not yet.
I mean, Big Feeties is shouting at everybody.
Mr. Big Feet is just shouting.
Yeah. He's out shouting and bawling and jumping up and down. Make a lot of noise. I mean, he could be saying hello to people, but I'm speculating. Herb, Scott can't find his 10mm spanner. Any ideas?
Okay, there we go. That's down to 8mm. Let's just check its fit into the whistle body. A little bit more, but we'll get that with sandpaper. Because if I go any more with the chisel, I'm probably going to go too much.
John Ensign.
Hiya, John.
He says Happy New Year, although he accepts it may be a little late.
It's my first live of the new year.
You have 27 beautiful human beings watching you.
Now, it is important for the sound that we do get a tight fit.
And the whistle, the mighty whistle. Sorry.
Okay, and what I've done there is I've just marked a line.
And Drury's WoodTurning is in.
Hiya, Drury. Because what you need is the end of this piece to come up to this shoulder. We're just going to give it a little bit more of a sand. And then we need to put a flat stop on it. Where's the skew? So again, I'm just using the point of the skew just to mark where we're going to cut.
John N's asking a question to Shug. He says, did you ever get your #1 hollower? Asking for a friend. You know, and Shug is joining in on the chorus for Tight Fit with wee, wee.
A #1 hollower.
Mm-hmm.
I
Bigfoot
don't know
Woodcraft reckons. I bet Scott Spanner is 8mm on one side and 10mm on the other. He can find the 8mm, but not the 10mm. Lol.
Do you know what?
You're checking.
It. No, I found it.
What?
No, I was just making sure that Shug hadn't got hold of my #1 Oliver.
Oh my. Kick him in when he's down.
Right. So, there's lots of ways you can put a flat on here. You could use a Stanley knife if you're really careful and take it flat. A bit of sandpaper. I've just got a rasp.
You've muscled at it and gone, I'm going to cut you. Hey?
Yeah.
It's a bit rough, that rasp.
You don't need a massive flat on it, but what you do need is to allow the air to get in. I'm going to.
Careful, you do that, you get bottom burps.
I'm going to use a Stanley just to take a little bit off, and then I'll finish it with a rasp.
Is that a Stanley, or are you merely suggesting this particular knife is a...
This is a Stanley knife.
Good Lord.
I've had this knife since I was an apprentice. Many years ago.
Doug is saying a rasp was okay to get the hangers off. George Woodburn says, thought I'd share my thoughts on the Axminster 406. Amazing beast, he says.
Cool.
Young Mr. Feeties is saying, Valerie has two #1 hollows and she allows me to look at them anytime I want. Tomorrow Friday.
All day, mate, all day.
Promise?
Yes. It is. And then what I've got is I've just got a bit of sandpaper on a flat.
John N's inquiring. No, that's cruel, Wayne. Why is she doing that to you?
Let's just see what the fit's like.
Too loose.
No. Just want a little bit more on that flap.
Change the buffers on the railway track.
Now, if you're a really skilled wood turner, you could put this in off center and turn the flap.
John's thanking me for the edit. Wayne goes on to respond by saying, she says me hands are dirty, John.
Where did I put the rasp?
Douglas says, Scott, if you're ever down his way, he's got some fag ash you can have. Sorry, he said green ash you can have. I is having a fag.
Douglas is Essex way, isn't he?
Oh. You sure it's not tan ash run that way? You know, fake tan ash. Rather than green.
What are you saying?
I'm suggesting that I've seen clips from some shows that would suggest that people from that part of the world dip themselves in orange. And leave a stain on whatever they've sat down on.
Right. Let's have a look. That's better. Right. Let's cut this off. Being uber careful again because it is right closer to the chuck.
Chucky!
We will only get the one done because it's 10 to 9.
TikTok.
What I might do is I might do a video
That's what to do.
of the other one.
Do a sensible length video and do it as a premiere. That way we can get all these loonies back to say, that wasn't what you did last time.
Well, you can do different shape on the mouthpiece and all sorts. So, yeah, I'll do a video and we'll
3D printer.
No, see, that's why I want to finish because I want to play with my 3D printer. I've got a new board I want to put in it.
My word. Where'd that come from?
Very nice man bought it for my birthday yesterday.
Did he? Clearly wants something.
Hey, look at that.
You're going to have to do that in shot now, so change
I
the
will.
camera.
I will, but
before
I do it in shot, I just want to put a little bit of glue on it and glue that in.
So you don't suck it down your throat.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use PVA because the one I did earlier on, I used the Brilliance Pre-A super glue. And then spent 20 minutes looking for the debonder.
John's kind of where my head's at on this one. He says, I thought Scott was going to say he wanted to play with his whistle. John, if I was going to edit that, I would say I thought Scott wanted to play with his little wooden whistle.
Just a little bit of PVA on there, just to hold it in. Don't mind getting PVA on my fingers.
But
it's a darn sight easier to get off. And what you want is you want the flat level with the top. So it's in line. So we'll pop that in there like so. Wipe off the excess. So you can see there's just a little hole on the top. Let's come back to ugly cam or Bowie cam. There we go. One whistle.
God, my ears.
I now got 2 whistles for the picket line on Monday. So nice.
Don't stain them blue. Do not stain them blue. Whatever that blue stain was, you put in all those blue pencils.
No, I don't want blue lips.
That'd be hilarious.
But there we go. Nice, simple, fun project to kick us off for the new year. What have we got coming up? I won't be live next week. I am on late, but I will be live the following week. And what I want to try and do is do some fun, different projects. So I've got some ideas in mind that I'm going to keep in my mind, and you lot will find out when we do a live. Thank you, Dale, for jumping in at the last minute to Worm.
That's all right, man.
Very much appreciated. Thank you, everyone, for coming in and watching. I know I've been a bit temperamental with when I'm live, when I'm not live.
Very
I just want to
temperamental.
say,
You should hear him when
just
he
want
gets
to say,
stressed. He shouts,
thank you
shouts,
to
he stamps his feet,
everyone that's
makes up
stuck
swear
with me.
words. Just, you know, I mean, then goes on a strop, goes off, has a fag, kind of thing, then a cigarette, and then goes to sleep.
Right, and on that note, Wayne, is Wayne live tomorrow lunchtime? Not sure. But keep an eye out. There'll be lots of
Fun.
shows over the weekend to keep you busy. Until the next time.
Take it
I
easy,
shall
loonies.
I'm going to hit
Bye.
that button.
Go away.